Hey, welcome to Signal, where I torture you with industry trends, market updates around business and tech to help you get ahead at work. Let's dive right in. We're going to go through market updates, perspective, and a wrap up. Let's get into market updates. There's only one mainstream topic that we Americans can align on. It's football. Most people watched the Super Bowl last weekend. About 114 million people tuned in. It's an all-time high. And the issue with that, people are actually tuning less into the sport and they're tuning more into the Super Bowl ads. According to Kellogg, which runs a pretty sophisticated analysis every year of Super Bowl ads, Google Pixel was the winner. It was really a heartwarming story of overcoming challenges using technology. It was a really well-received ad. My favorite, though, was the Dunkin' ad. I mean, come on. Ben Affleck, Tom Brady, Matt Damon, and of course, Jennifer Lopez. Self-deprecation humor. You can't go wrong with that. I really, really love that ad. I'm probably going to buy some of that gear on eBay, but just don't tell my wife. This past week, markets were flat, slightly lower. What we're seeing right now is inflation is sticking around, and a market is expecting rate cuts in March. It's possible that the market won't get those rate cuts in March, and primarily because the CPI and PPI are coming in hotter than expected. What does that mean? That means inflation has gone down, but it's still sticking around, and it actually showed up a little bit higher than expected. And so market is going to have to wait for Jay Powell to really bring in those cuts that they're expecting, which means if market is actually pricing in those rate cuts, as of now, then the market might actually trend a little bit lower. Hashtag not financial advice. But yeah, that's what's going to happen with markets. But here's the other thing that's going on in the world of business. OpenAI's Sora. Sora is a text to video model. It's actually incredible technology. You just put in a couple of sentences in terms of prompt, and out comes a really good high definition video, which actually looks pretty lifelike. And, when I was sort of looking at some of these videos that were shared by OpenAI, I was taken aback by the sophistication of these videos. I can totally see companies and individuals not only creating content for stock videos or stock pictures and things like that, which is pretty basic, but I definitely see movies and all kinds of content being created tomorrow just using some of these technologies like OpenAI Sora. Expect this technology to make waves in the coming months and years. Google is rebranding a lot of its AI properties to Gemini. Google Bard is now Gemini. The context window for Gemini is now 1 million tokens. It's multimodal, which basically means it can take in and as input text, images, video, and audio and video, and it can output text, images, audio, and video, which basically makes it a very versatile engine, and it's something to absolutely watch out for. Google is gaining traction in the space, and Google has the best data that any of these companies would have. So I would expect Google to continue to make progress in this space. But what does this all mean? This race for AI technology, which has been happening in the last few years, is now an all-out war. Every company is trying to out-innovate, out-compete other companies, especially the hyperscalers, which brings us to our perspective. Our perspective is that AI is the next battleground, which means that every tech company worth its salt is trying to become the vendor of choice for enterprise customers, for mid-market customers, commercial customers. What does that mean? That means every company is trying to build their stack, whether they're building their own models, whether they're building their own infrastructure. During all of this sort of battleground area, there is one company that is the arms supplier for all of these companies. And that company is NVIDIA. See, NVIDIA has been supplying H100 GPUs, which is the platform of choice. And that chipset is really becoming the generative AI technology that all of these companies need. A lot of this has been procured by Microsoft and Meta, followed by Alphabet, Amazon, and so many others. All of this demand is fueling NVIDIA's revenue. In fact, analysts are expecting that NVIDIA's revenue is going to go up 5 times in the next 5 years. That's unheard of. And the margins at 60% are actually pretty good. In fact, NVIDIA is at an all-time high. Quite frankly, some of the analysts are comparing NVIDIA's stock rise to Cisco's stock rise back in the dot-com boom days. Well, let's take a look at some of the AI demand that's out there. And the question really is, well, how much AI capacity do we need today and tomorrow? And how much have we built? And Sequoia Capital recently estimated that there is about $200 billion of AI capacity that's already built. And this is end of 2023 calculation. And it seems that about $75 billion are the current AI revenues. If you really look at OpenAI, Microsoft's Copilot, maybe Amazon, throw in some revenue for some of the other companies, it comes to about $75 billion, which basically means we have invested $200 billion, which basically all of these hyperscaler and other companies, they've invested $200 billion. If $75 billion is the revenue, we're really looking at $125 billion of capex whole. Basically, that means that's excess capacity that remains in the system as of now. Our perspective on this is it's all about time to value. When we make AI investments, we really want to get the return of those investments. Those returns could be incremental revenue. It could be cost savings. It could be experience. It could be efficiencies. And it's not only about, hey, how much value has been generated or can be generated. It's also about how fast can we get to that value. So the time to value becomes extremely important for AI investments. Look, we think NVIDIA is an incredible company. It's super innovative. It's founder-led. Its partner ecosystem is well-funded. They're going to continue to buy a lot of chips from NVIDIA. In fact, NVIDIA is now going to develop custom chips for a lot of these hyperscalers, including AWS and Microsoft. However, we really think that for determining NVIDIA's future growth, it's really going to be about time to AI value. And the faster these companies can demonstrate that there is value in investing with AI, the better it is going to be for NVIDIA stock. So it's only a question of time when we will see a little bit more detail about how much value is being created out of AI investments. With that, let's wrap up with a corporate buzzword bingo. One of my favorite things to do and most entertaining things to do is to watch out for corporate buzzwords. Here's a corporate buzzword for you. Let's take this offline. Usually, this phrase, let's take this offline, is mentioned in a meeting. And let's say it's a virtual meeting or in-person meeting, and you hear this phrase, hey, let's take this offline. It could mean one of these three things. One, whatever you're talking about or presenting is actually not contextual or relevant to this meeting, and it needs to be taken offline. Second, it could be that, what you're saying is actually completely antithetical to whatever is being discussed, or you may be totally wrong. In that case, you are getting feedback from someone that says, let's take a break. You're on the wrong track. Let's take this offline. Or the third situation might be someone is genuinely interested in learning more and actually double clicking and triple clicking on what you're presenting. And that's why they're asking you to take this offline. This is usually a really good cue for you to go back, do a one-on-one with that person. And in many cases, I've actually done one-on-ones and actually signed them up as my mentors in the future. So let's take this offline. In the short term, is like it could be a slap on the wrist, but in the long term, it's a great vehicle for you to find your next mentor. That's it for this episode. Until next time.